Can you tell somebody's political ideology just from the way that they look? What about their gender identity? Well, while y'all think on that, I'm going to go retrieve Subtle Rampage's first guest for a special Blue-Haired Conservatives episode of the podcast. Be right back.
Warning, the following program contains critical thinking, honest opinions, viewpoints on culture that may seem conservative, and a positive view on absolute detestable things such as marriage and children. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Subtle Rampage Podcast. You're tuning in today to a very special episode of the podcast, Blue-Haired Conservatives episode of the podcast. Yes, I did dye my hair blue for this. You may have noticed that I said blue-haired conservatives in the plural. That is because with me in the studio today is my best friend and fellow blue-haired conservative, Shawna Huskey. Say hi, Shawna.
Hi, Shawna.
Oh my goodness. So Shawna was born and raised in East Tennessee before moving to Florida at age 13. And she's been trapped in that humid hotbox of a state ever since. So, if any of y'all up here in Tennessee are hiring a graphic designer, hit up those Subtle Rampage email DMs, okay? Email me at subtlerampagepodcast@gmail.com if you have any interest in hiring a conservative graphic designer. Yeah. Anyways, for those of you who don't know, I was also raised in Tennessee and moved to Florida at age 13. We met almost 8 years ago.
Yeah.
In a graphic design class, ironically enough, at a local homeschool co-op. But
very special place.
It was very, very special. We actually found some of my old projects from that class when we were going through some of my keepsake stuff the other day, and it was quite special. She's definitely the artistic one out of the both of us when it comes to visuals.
I try.
But since then, Shawna has hit several life milestones, including making the decision to identify as disabled due to a very common condition called needing glasses and or contacts to see.
It's very serious.
Says her. She also recently graduated college with a BA in graphic design, marketing, and fine arts. So she's all educated and knowledgeable and all of that stuff. She's also recently been onboarded as the official graphic designer for Subtle Rampage. So some new exciting visuals are in the works, you guys. I'm so excited. Technically, it could have happened a lot sooner, but I decided to follow suit with a lot of the other employers in our country, and I actually told her, I was like, I can't hire you until you have a 4-year degree.
It's true.
But now she has that 4-year degree, so we're all good. We're good to go. She's educated, right? She's also watched me film a few podcasts since she's been in town visiting me.
It's quite entertaining.
Yeah, she's been very amused by my struggles. We'll put it that way.
Well, I have to be. I'm your best friend.
Yeah, that's true. I don't blame her. I would be amused if I were her. Okay, so first things first.
All right.
We have to take a few verification steps to make sure that Shawna is conservative. A few CAPTCHA checks, if you will.
Alrighty.
Since, blue hair and a very bleak history of short haircuts. So, question number 1. What are your pronouns? Ding, 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 ding. Yay! That was a trick question. She got it right. No, we don't answer that question because it makes us uncomfortable. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Crazy. Okay. So she answered that one correctly. Moving on to question number 2. Who is your favorite Daily Wire pundit?
I would say Michael Knowles and then Matt Walsh.
Okay, that's a good answer. Michael Knowles is the correct answer. Matt Walsh, close second. So that's very fair. Very fair. Why is Michael Knowles your favorite?
I align with him most on certain important issues, except the Catholic thing. I'm not Catholic.
Yeah, the Catholic thing is questionable.
Very. Everything else seems to be About right.
Yeah. He was also the one that made me feel the most sane during all of COVID stuff.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Ben Shapiro kind of went off there with the whole vaccination situation.
He lost me when he started talking about that.
Yeah. So, Michael Knowles is definitely a G. He even plays the ukulele, which Shawna didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't fully realize that.
The other day, she, like, was scrolling, and she's just like, Michael Knowles plays the ukulele? And I was like, oh my god, yes, that's why I joke about moshing at a Michael Knowles concert if he plays the ukulele. But what about Matt Walsh? What do you think about his comments about not ever changing diapers?
I completely disagree with that. No, we don't align there.
Gotta have a bit more equal share of the dirty diaper load.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree. I like Michael Knowles best, and then Matt Walsh is second for me as well. What do you think about Brett Cooper?
She's alright. She's alright. I don't hate her. She's like a mini Ben Shapiro, but like more Gen Z-ified.
Yeah, it's definitely more Gen Z-ified. I do like watching her, but it's always it's less for like absorbing information about what's actually going on, and more so for entertainment.
Agreed.
And like me and Sean have had this conversation before about Brett Cooper, is that it seems like a really good like bridge for people who aren't super into politics, who don't really, keep up with the news, and like are just watching things for entertainment, and then they come across Brett Cooper and they go, oh, I agree with her on these things, and they start watching and they start kind of like being more aware of what's going on. But as far as like actually digging in deep to things, I've seen some videos where she does, but a lot of it is meant to be more entertainment, I think.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you're looking for, I guess. Like, if you're looking for true crime stuff, you go to Candace Owens' podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say something about Candace Owens.
Yeah. We actually watched Candace Owens and Brett Cooper did a little thing on Candace Owens' show. They did a little segment on why Brett Cooper doesn't drink as a 21-year-old, and we were kind of struggling to relate.
Yeah, it was very difficult because they were almost coming at it from the viewpoint of acting like they were alcoholics when they're not.
Yeah, the I don't know, the approach to them talking about stopping drinking and what it was like for them when they were drinking seemed very much like they didn't have control over their lives when they were drinking.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's just like it was kind of like this narrative of like, it's so rare to meet a 21-year-old who doesn't drink, when like the reality is that a lot of people don't drink the way that they were discussing. Like, me and Shawna don't go out to clubs.
No. That life is behind me.
Yeah, and bars, I mean, I've never been to a bar, but Shawna's gone, but that's just mostly when friends like are like, hey, do you want to meet up at a bar? So it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, if you're not doing it all the time and it's not like actually interfering with your stuff and you're like responsible about it, like there's no need to act like, you were an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But, yeah, anyways, there's that. That was just something that we did this week. Let's go on to the next question. Now, this one's a bit difficult, so I want you to brace yourself. Brace yourself, okay?
Embrace.
All right, everybody listening, brace yourself. This is difficult. You might have an issue answering this one correctly as well. So, you're at a family gathering, okay?
Sure.
Say Thanksgiving dinner at a splash pad park in Miami, Florida.
I'm never going to Miami, but okay.
They probably don't have splash parks there either, because it's probably not that family-friendly of a place. I've never been there.
No.
But for theoretical questions' sake, you're at a family gathering, Thanksgiving dinner at a splash pad park in Miami, okay? And your ex-great-uncle, twice removed, is a diehard Democrat, and the two of you start talking politics. He goes off on some illogical rant that you completely disagree with. Do you A, call him sexist and threaten to file a harassment report? B, blame the patriarchy and storm out? C, start yelling at him? Or D, listen to what he's saying calmly and either look for some common ground or change the subject?
While the patriarchy one seems very intriguing, I think I'm gonna have to go with the last one.
Oh my gosh, guys, she picked the right one. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. I think she's doing pretty well. She might just be a conservative. Okay, let's see. Last question here. All right. True or false?
Oh, okay.
All Republicans are conservatives. False.
False. False. False. False. False.
She's a quiet one, guys.
I have little voice.
There we go. 4 out of 4 right off the bat. I think we're dealing with a real conservative here, my guys. Okay. Anyways, now that we have established that, let's get to one of the main things that I wanted to talk about today. Stereotypes and sweeping generalizations.
Woo!
Yay! Okay. I think we all know that stereotypes are true to a certain extent. They are stereotypes for a reason. They are based off of something. But I think we all also know that they don't apply to every single individual.
No.
They don't apply to a lot of people, right?
No.
There's just this like thing we do as human beings is like we like to like group people together and see people through this like group lens instead of an individual lens, you know. But something I kind of want to explore today is this idea of like, what do liberals look like? What do conservatives look like? Obviously, we're going to be talking specifically within the context of the United States because that's what we know. But you know, I think there's just certain haircuts, clothing choices, stuff like that people tend to associate with either the political left or the political right. And so, yeah, when I ask you, what does a liberal look like? What's the first thing that pops into your head?
For me, it's the memes I see of the people like the screeching lady and like the short haircuts, the vibrant hair, and piercings, the sporadic tattoos, like the type of appears that feels like it's very much as the wind blows.
Yeah, kind of
deal.
like.
Obviously, that doesn't apply to everybody or every liberal or anything. Like, it's just from the media and everything that's like
the first thing that pops in your head.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. No, definitely the first thing that pops into my head when I think of, like, a liberal is, like, what I see on, like, you know, all these TikToks that go viral and stuff. I'm not on TikTok, but they, you know, they eventually get to Instagram.
Eventually.
Yeah. So, like, that immediately pops into my head is, like, the screaming, like, liberal or whatever with a shaved head and, like, the, you know, gauges and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or like, you know, those videos of like liberals trying to teach conservatives things where it's very condescending.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, you know, for those of you not watching the video podcast, I've got this flower here in my hand, okay? That's what I'm doing right now. I'm holding the flower. Okay, and it's green and yellow. And it would be like if I turned to Shawna and I was like, so I know that you think you know what this is, but you don't know what this is because only people like me know what this is.
It's a flower.
No, you don't understand. Okay,
oh.
It's not just any flower. It is a specific type of flower that I'm not going to actually explain. And this part is yellow, and this part is green. Okay, yellow, green.
Right.
Yellow, green. Now repeat after me. Yellow, green. You know, it's not that hard.
I didn't think it was.
Yeah, but that's how I feel. How Shawna was feeling right there. That's how I feel every time I see one of those like little videos of like a liberal doing like a sing-songy type thing, trying to explain like pronouns.
Yeah, and like that's honestly like in-person interactions I've had with people like treating me as if I'm lesser than or dumber than a child.
Yeah, it's like just because you disagree with them on certain things, they think you just don't understand it. Let me teach it to you like you're a 2-year-old. It's very Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what immediately pops into my head is like just the very like kind of emotional instability of people on the left and how that translates into like a lot of women's appearances. Now, when it comes to men on the left, the first thing that pops into my head is like the skinny jean type dress pants and like the penny loafers and the whole long haired ponytail in the back.
Yeah, man buns.
Yeah.
The hipster glasses.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very much going back to like middle school when the hipster millennials were becoming adults.
Yeah.
But there's still plenty of liberal men who dress like that.
Yeah.
I was working the election last year, and like I could tell like every single person that, because there was some local like primaries, and I could tell like every single person before they clicked Democrat on the little screen that I had control over. I could tell that they were about to click Democrat because I live in a very rural area, so it's very clear when somebody is not conservative. Like this dude walked in looking exactly like I just described, and it was so funny. He looked so out of place. I felt bad for the guy, but yeah, that's what I think. And then we also beforehand we wrote down just a few things that like came to mind like immediately when we were thinking about what a liberal looks like, and we've got piercings, colored hair, short hair on women, buzz cuts, tattoos, frowning. Guys wearing skinny jeans, mixed match clothing, a lot of androgynous clothing, and white claws. I know that's not a physical appearance thing, but it just,
it fits. It just fits.
You think conservatives, you think beer.
Yeah.
You think
whiskey.
Yeah, like hard stuff. And then you think liberal and you think white claws and seltzers. And I know that's not everybody, but I feel like it applies to a lot of people. I'm just saying.
Like there's a reason why it's a generalization.
Yeah, there's a reason it's a stereotype, guys. Okay, but what comes to mind when you think about conservative? What's the first picture?
I have two extremes in my head just because of who I grew up around.
Yeah.
I have what is probably most stereotypically known as the rough guy who doesn't really care about anyone's opinions and is like America. And then like I've also grown up around conservative males who are very reserved, quiet, and like aren't like all mullets and lifted trucks and
yeah.
So
no, definitely. I think that is like the picture that pops into my head when I think conservative is like the mullet wearing like dudes with the work boots or the cowboy boots or whatever, and the like American flag t-shirt or the 1776 t-shirt.
Yeah, that one.
Stuff like that. They're very patriotic.
I've seen like videos lately of where since it's summer, people are doing tans of the American flag.
Oh, okay.
On their back.
Nice. Hey, I'm all for it. Yeah, you want to be patriotic? Do you, man? I love that. I've got my American flag shirt that I wear like 3 times a year.
Yeah,
it's my 4th of July shirt. Okay, it's my Independence Day shirt. But yeah, so that's kind of like the same thing I get is like when I think conservative, I think rural aesthetic, and then when I think Republican, I think politician, like suit, like, that aesthetic. But if we're talking conservative, like, and that's one of the differences that we were kind of discussing beforehand, is the difference between just people on the street in general and then politicians. Because obviously, like, you don't see many liberal politicians walking around with green hair or orange hair or whatever. Gauges. But so. I mean, I'm sure there's a few, maybe some state reps or something, but you just don't see that as much. And the same goes for like politicians on the right. Like, you don't see them walking around with mullets usually. So I've seen a couple. There's always that one that has his picture with the cowboy hat on. It's usually like a lieutenant governor. It's really funny how like consistent that is across conservative states. But but yeah. So conservative, very America energy. Yeah, I think so. While Shawna's been in town, don't come at me, I did sign up for like the Right Stuff dating app, because we were just curious, like, if it was still invite only, because it was like invite only when they first launched the app, and it was like, okay, well, what about the conservatives who don't know any other conservatives? But yeah, so anyways, I got on there, and what's been funny about that is like almost every single dude's profile has a country song.
Yeah.
And like, I know I'm in Tennessee, but dude, there's not that many people on the app, so I did like expand my radius to like, the surrounding states, like even the ones north of me, and it's still like all these country songs. Also, there's too many guys. If you're a guy on Right Stuff, okay, and you have like the drinking problems song as your profile song.
Yeah, that's been on there too much.
Slightly concerning, and there's too many guys that have this. Even if you like the song, that's fine. But like, why is that the song you picked for first impressions?
Yeah,
Do you have a drinking problem?
Yeah, it's really concerning because like the app is about like, oh, here's like your 5 seconds of me, and like you're telling me you're an alcoholic that wants
much.
kids and a family, and it's just like,
are you sure? I'm like, maybe pick a different song for just first impressions. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care if you like the song. If you like the song, great. But like, let's put a little bit more thought into it. My conservative dudes out there. Okay, I'm just saying. But okay, back to the like, liberal versus conservatives, like appearances. Like, okay, I think part of it is like location, obviously.
Yes.
Like, you have a lot of liberals who live in the city, and you have a lot of conservatives who live in rural areas. And it just kind of tends to be that way.
Yeah.
And so then, of course, you're going to get a lot more of the urban-esque appearance, a lot of the more loose and like, free flowing, getting tattoos, getting piercings, all that stuff has a bit more to do with the city. I'm not saying that country people don't do that. It's just there's a lot in cities. And then once you get out to the country, there's a lot more work boots and a lot more American flag t-shirts and a lot more mullets. Oh, that's what I meant to ask you. What do you think when you think conservative women?
Conservative women?
Yeah.
My first impression is pretty much my mom. It's like a very reserved, well put together appearance, I would say. Like, I haven't really seen many, like, super expressive conservative women in terms of like colored hair or tattoos. Not saying they don't exist, I'm just saying that's been my experience.
And like the first thing that pops into my head as far as conservative women goes is also the like more reserved nature, like as far as just like kind of knowing when to say things and knowing like being more observant and less emotional, like in public, at least.
In public,
like it's kind of one of those things. Like, you don't see a lot of conservative women getting on social media and like crying or going on these whole rants.
I mean, Mama Bear will still come out.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There's no doubt about that.
It's just like a matter of when and where is the right time to be emotional, and I think that a lot of conservative women are a bit better about that in what I've seen as like a sweeping generalization. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. And then I think as far as just like, what you've experienced of a lot of conservative women and what I have too is just like, we both grew up homeschooled, we both grew up Christian. So a lot of the conservative women that we spent time around were homeschool mothers who were also Christian. So that has a little bit to do with like the type of person that pops into our heads. But I mean, my mom has tattoos. My mom has piercings. But my mom also didn't grow up conservative necessarily, so it just whatever, I guess. And and I've also met plenty of conservative women who are pretty they're pretty aggressive, man. They're pretty out there. They could give a crap what they look like, and they're gonna tell you straight to your face what is wrong with you. Like, like there are people of all sorts of like backgrounds and personalities in both sides, but stereotypically, when you think conservative woman, you think somebody who wants to be a mother, somebody who is more reserved, somebody who wants to be a wife. That's not across the board, but that is the general consensus.
For us, I think at least something that just popped into my head was like maybe a more public stereotype people might associate with the conservative woman would maybe be a Karen. I just now thought about that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that wouldn't pop into my head necessarily, but that doesn't mean that's not something that would pop into like somebody on the left's head. Like if you ask them what is your view of a conservative woman, they might say, oh, well, somebody like a Karen. That term, whatever. I hate that term. It's stupid. And I feel bad for all the Karens out there who are actually really nice people. But
and the people with those specific shorter haircuts.
Yeah. Even if it looks good on you, I'm sorry. People are gonna perceive you a certain way. But yeah, so that's what kind of comes to mind. I think, like, you know, you get a lot more rural aesthetics associated with the political right and a lot more urban aesthetics associated with the political left. But when you get, you know, this is something that crossed my mind, when you get down to, like, a few things, like, wife beaters or just like there are certain things that do cross over, but I think that has to do more with like socioeconomic levels versus like political beliefs. So it's just very interesting stuff to think about. I mean, I don't have a specific point here to give y'all. We're just talking, okay?
Yeah, this is just a conversion.
Yeah. A conversation. We're conversing.
Yes. That's the right word.
Those words. But obviously, there's a lot of assumptions made concerning political ideology when it comes to how a person presents themselves, but there's also the issue of gender identity and sexuality. Assumptions about those things based on how a person dresses or cuts their hair or whatever. And I kind of wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about some of your experiences, specifically when it comes to some of the haircuts that you've had over the last several years.
Yeah. My haircuts since I was maybe right before 18. I think I did it right after my graduation.
Yeah, that's right. So it was like right before you turned 18.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's like there were a lot of assumptions about your gender and sexuality after you like started cutting your hair shorter like that.
Yeah.
Like just based off the fact that you like did not have long, flowy, female-y looking locks falling around you. You cut them off. How dare you? But you know, what did that kind of look like for you?
When I had really short hair, a lot of people had the entitlement, honestly, to come up to me and ask me several questions that were one, too personal to ask, two, none of their business. Okay. Like, I would often get asked, and sometimes in public, like in public spaces, or by just like people I thought were my friends. People would ask if I'm transgender. People would call me sir. People would ask if I'm gay a lot or bi. I got gay quite a lot. But those were the general assumptions / questions I would get about who I was based on just having short hair.
So like I remember you told me like one time when you were working at Walmart for a little bit, like you even wore like a pink mask because it was still during COVID. They were making all the employees do it.
Yeah, and I needed money,
and she needed money, so she did it. But doesn't mean we liked it.
No, did not at all. But yeah, I had really short hair at that time, and I was wearing a pink mask, not by choice, on both the color and the mask, but it was free. I was not willing to pay money for it, so whatever. So I had those combinations going on, and customers would still come up to me and say, "Excuse me, sir." And it's like, I know, like, we're trying to break the stereotypes of, like, pink isn't just a girl color, but, like, come on. It had flowers on it, okay?
Like, did you, when you were working at Walmart, did you ever get any comments about your sexuality then?
Yes. Yeah. All the time. All the time. And people were surprised / offended / disappointed when they heard
that you
my
weren't
answer.
gay.
That I wasn't gay. Like, they had this expectation of me that I didn't live up to, and that was a disappointment.
Wow, you heard it here first, folks. I guess there's people who get disappointed when you're not gay.
Yeah.
Imagine that. And then you also would get comments from, like, your family members, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. My conservative family members who knew very well the type of person I am. They probably questioned it a little bit at the time, but I'm sure it was not a long period of time.
But like chopped off the hair and they were like,
gay. You're gay. My child is now gay. Are you gay, honey? And like, it wouldn't just be like questions like that. It would be like, so certain words that people associate with slurs, towards lesbians.
Love
like,
that.
I would be, my family members would call me those things out of love.
No, don't go telling anybody in the LGBTQ plus community this, okay? All right,
Yeah.
this is private family business.
It is family business, so
keep it to yourself. You're part of the family now, okay? Not
family
really.
secrets.
Not really. I don't. Unless you're related to me, you're not my family, really.
Yeah.
But you know, theoretically, this is a family secret.
This is a hypothetical family.
Yes, this is a hypothetical family. So keep the secret to yourself.
Yes.
Don't go telling the gay people. They probably wouldn't like it.
Probably not. No.
But yeah. And now, you know, I'm gonna put some. Don't worry, for those of you watching the video, I am gonna put up some pictures of Shawna's haircuts over the years.
Here they go.
Yeah, woo! Okay, but like, there's, you know, when she first got it cut when she was about to be 18, it was like this cute little, like, swoopy, feminine, like, looking cut or whatever, and like, you know, and most of her cuts have been more feminine, but like, this particular one, I think that happened in...
Oh, God.
Did it happen like 2019, 2020?
It was like 2020, like right before everything happened.
Okay, so right before everything happened with the COVID stuff, like, she went and got a haircut, and the person just did a...
It was not my usual person.
Very questionable job, given what Shawna asked for. And so she ended up with a haircut like this. Very short, a little too boyish. She hated it.
I did. You can tell in the picture. I hated it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's some of her haircuts, just for context, so you know what we're dealing with here.
And I think my comments did escalate when I did get that haircut.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
But for the record, she was still getting comments like that about her sexuality and assumptions like that, just based off of the more feminine short haircuts.
Yes.
So there is that. Hey, Adelia here. I hope you're enjoying this Blue-Haired Conservatives episode of the Subtle Rampage Podcast. I just wanted to take a quick moment and kind of explain the release schedule for the rest of the upcoming Blue-Haired Conservatives episodes. I promise that I did outline every single episode. However, me and Shawna can clearly talk for a hot minute about literally anything. So I've decided to split every episode up into 2 parts, and each week I'll be releasing half an episode on YouTube for those of you who enjoy the video podcasts. And for those of you who prefer audio, you'll get the full episode all at once, but that's going to be on a bi-weekly basis on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and whatever streaming platform you listen to. So do what you will with that information. Thank you for tuning in, and I will be back with more content next week. Bye!